What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. And today we're going to talk about the thin red line between love and hate. Hasbro's non-transforming figures coming. Well, that's what we're going to talk about now. Originally, we were not supposed to be talking about that. I just recorded a whole Sit Down Saturday on an entirely different topic, but I'll save that one for the future because this one's going to be a hot button. I want to talk about it. I got a lot I want to talk about regarding Hasbro. I'm not even sure if it'll all fit in the same video. So next week, when you see the video, I'm going to be wearing the same outfit, with the exception maybe of the intro. So, hey, we gotta be flexible. We gotta learn how to adapt and overcome. But before we do that, we gotta get into some house cleaning. I'm happy that you guys enjoyed the 4 dummies. They love me not. Please rest assured, a lot of people reached out with positive comments. I like, this stuff is I don't take this stuff all that personal. Every now and then something will get to me, but it's very rare, and it's certainly none of this type of stuff. This is just sort of the mundane, silly stuff that comes in throughout the week. I'll tell you though, man, sometimes taking a look at it before you have a cup of coffee is a bit much. So like, I've recently started in recent months, like I wake up, I take a walk or something, I have some coffee, and then I go through and lower my self-esteem a good bit, you know what I mean? Ironically, last week's Sit Down Saturday, we don't have much to cover. Yes, there were some people in the comments that were saying that there's some rumors out there of some of the bigger third-party companies also having RAID issues. They have seemed to be unfounded to me, just kind of rumors, speculation, and talk. I've reached out to a few people that I know over there, and they've hit me like, dude, if that was real, my inbox would be flooded, and I haven't heard a word, so I wouldn't put too much stock into it. So therefore I didn't mention it. I only wanted the stuff that had a little bit more of validity to it in regard to the factory raids. And we'll see how that all shakes out. Real quick, I gotta talk about the Force Friday Mandalorian versus. I got a lot of positive feedback on that. I will continue to do those as the figures continue to be released. I want to say though that much like most of you guys in the comments, I kind of like the Hasbro one better also. It's one of those things, right? Like it was a slaughterhouse, but I tend to like the Hasbro one better than the Figuarts, but it lost, I think, 7-2. That's the difference between objective and subjective. Like, it couldn't be better displayed, honestly. And then the only other thing that we have left to discuss is the Star Saber. And I don't know, man, it's a really well-made thing. It's really good. It's got a couple issues, but I want to see what they have in the future. I'd like to see them kind of dibble and dabble a little bit closer to the stuff that I'm interested in, but they're off to the races, man. Anybody that likes that victory stuff, if they continue down that kind of train of thought, you've got some good stuff to look forward to. All right, now I want to do the piece of merch for the week. I have the Megatron blanket. It's machine washable, fully colored. I think my wife advises to wash it on cool, but we have some for the house. And we've washed ours plenty of times. And it's a nice Sherpa on the back. Artwork by myself. Percentage of which goes to a foundation for a gentleman that passed away of cancer this year. We try to do a charity every year with this stuff. I hope you guys had a good Father's Day. I had a tremendous Father's Day weekend. We worked on a diorama. We did some bonus stuff for Patreon. And I got this statue I've been looking forward to getting for a long time. And honestly, I'd kind of written it off as just one I was never going to get. But they got it for me. And this Harley with the hyenas. And I've been wanting it forever. So I'm really happy to have had that. So I hope you guys had a Father's Day that was as enjoyable. And some great steaks from Robert D, by the way. De Braga steaks? Look, if there was a company that wanted to sponsor me, that's the one I'm interested in. They were delicious. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Crimson Raptor. I've been doing a lot of dioramas recently, and I've been running out of paint left and right, and with all this stuff going on, it's been hard to get a hold of paint, and he's been finding me paint and sending it to me, and not allowing me to reimburse him, even when I'm asking him, please, will you let me reimburse you? All he asked for was a shout out. It's the least I can do. He's been very helpful. He has a YouTube video. The link will be in the description at the top. Give the dude a view from me. Do me a favor. Give him a view. Type in the comments that Scully sent you. He's really helped me out, and I want to thank him. So let's get into this. Oh, I don't even know where to begin with this. I have a lot I want to say regarding this. Okay, so what is the first order of business? And what I mean by order is rule. What is the first rule of business? Go ahead, write it in the comments or talk to your screen. That's right. Never leave a dollar on the table. Hasbro has been applying this to everything. I've been talking a lot about it on Force Friday. If you've been keeping up with that, a lot of Hasbro's kind of tactics and strategies have been revealed there. I think anyway. At least discussed. So let's talk about what I see, right? I see Star Wars licensing out prop replicas to high-end companies. I see Hasbro producing helmets and lightsabers now. I see Hot Toys creating 1/6 scale figures with soft goods, I see Hasbro's hyper real Star Wars figure. I see Kotobukiya's Art FX line producing 1/10 scale statues. I see Hasbro producing similarly scaled statues. Like, they are not trying to leave a dollar on the table. Let's apply this to Transformers. What have we seen and been talking about on this channel for the last 2 years? The rise of non-transforming figures. Now, it started off in a very niche thing with a very expensive price point. We're now getting Reveltech Optimus Prime. There's an evolution to this. There's discussion circulating around it. So what does Hasbro do? They create a 6-inch line of non-transforming Transformers. And so far, as of when I'm recording this video, which is Wednesday afternoon, they've only revealed Prime and Megatron. I'm sure they will reveal more. Their big fan event is Friday. This is something that Hasbro Pulse has been doing. We'll circle back to that. Let me give you my thoughts on how these look. I don't think they look great. I think Megatron looks better than Optimus, but I don't think they look great. But I don't think they look bad. And I think there's a lot of potential here for something that's very cool in an action figure sense. Hasbro has been killing the action figure market recently with beautifully sculpted and painted pieces, all in this scale. The Star Wars Black Series line has become so massively popular that it's crashing BBTS when pre-orders are going up. The Marvel Legends line has never looked or felt better. The G.I. Joe line is surprisingly advanced for what I expect from this company, and I say that being a fan of their Legends and their Black Series. I have no reason to believe that this line of Transformers won't be good. The question is, will people get behind it? If you're writing in the comments that Transformers aren't Transformers if they don't transform, I think you're silly. I'm sorry that I do. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I think that you're utterly a silly person. Transformers is a noun, it's not a verb. Transforming is a verb. It's important to know the difference. Whether or not you care about Transformers transforming doesn't relate to this video. This video is about these figures and this angle and the tactics that Hasbro is using. Let's continue. I probably should have got that out earlier. They're articulated. They come with a lot of accessories, it seems, or at least the appropriate ones. I can't tell about the paint quality, but deco-wise, at least they're matching the source material. So if we don't have tons of paint, at least we're having paint that matches the character aesthetics. Now, this does create a number of questions for me, one of which being how they will handle scale. The 6-inch 1/12 scale figure from Hasbro has had a formula to it. You package these figures at $20 a piece, roughly. It's Chewbacca, $20. It's R2-D2, $20. Now, the Star Wars series has recently started to do deluxe figures. That changes the game. That's how you could get bigger price point figures out of this line. Skyfire should be more expensive. Six Shot should be more expensive. What about the smaller figures? Transformers has a ton of smaller figures. I think they're either going to have to double them up into a deluxe set or figure out another way, but that's going to be interesting. A lot of the characters aren't going to be a problem. Of course, they're going to run the Seekers through. Don't you worry your pretty little heart out about that. They're going to run the Seekers all the way through till that thing is just, the mold itself just shrivels up. It goes from grape to raisin in 20 seconds. What about combiners? What about mini-bots? Like, there's a lot of things they can do here. The options are fairly limitless. And the scale of the figures are going to allow you to display them in a lot more variety of furniture. One of the issues I have with Masterpiece is the amount of space they take up. Now, I'm not saying I'm switching from Masterpiece to this, but I am saying that this has my attention. I don't know if this line can be successful because the general kind of consensus amongst Transformer fans, at least in my comments, are that they prefer them to transform. And I get that. That's the gimmick of the figure, right? So I don't know how successful this will be, but they're very G1 accurate, and a lot of us have been wanting G1 accurate stuff from Hasbro, and this is it. And brand identity-wise, it's a lot more of a clever move to not have them compete with their Siege line or their transforming gimmick figures. Hasbro Pulse has been making some very interesting decisions, and I want to talk about it. The crowdfunded stuff, the Sand Barge, the Unicron, both of which huge undertakings, very ambitious, definitely kind of fan favorite stuff, fanfare for sure, with huge price tags, plus talks of a Sentinel coming. Since the Bud Ice virus has gotten a hold of us, they've been doing these little like fan things on Friday, Fan Friday. Sometimes they put them out on Monday, they just scratch Friday out. The day of the week doesn't matter. I don't know why they would have committed to that in the first place. But these fan events for Marvel Legends, for Star Wars, for the Vintage Collection and Black Series, for Transformers, etc. Super smart, super engaging with the fan base, super engaging with the collector community. The availability of products at a varying price level has also changed. This talking Deadpool head, was it $100, $120, something like that? When I got back into this stuff, that would have been unimaginable from a company like Hasbro. Now, not so much. Luke Snowspeeder with a DAC figure, the idea of the Sentinel, and probably a Galactus, I would imagine, at some point. And who knows what they're going to do with this stuff. You think this is done? This red line stuff? You're going to see combiners. You're going to see, if it's successful, what they can do here potential-wise is out of control. The big question for me with it is how far can they take the line if the fan base is not super supportive behind it? Because the last thing that I'm interested in is having another half-complete Transformers collection made up of a number of Optimus Primes and Seekers, with a Bumblebee for good measure. But I'll tell you, I do feel an allure to this. But I would need some sort of commitment from the brand that they were going to run this through. And they may have. Like I said, I'm recording this Wednesday. They're doing their fan event on Friday. You guys know more information at this point than I do. But back to topic. Hasbro's been doing all of this stuff, these major moves, Deadpool heads, barges, Unicrons, etc. And all of a sudden seem way more engaged in the fan base and are communicating more with the fan base. And they're finally listening to collectors and creating a 6-inch G.I. Joe line and blah-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But what has changed? Toys R Us is gone. Toys R Us is gone. And with that, all hope. But with that, their availability and opportunity to move product at a very specific retail store for what they make. So they're able to kind of cater more. Hasbro Pulse is becoming an online toy store. Hasbro is becoming an online retailer. And they've been looking at the market. They're studying what NECA's doing nationally. They're looking at SH Figuarts. They're looking at third-party companies. They're looking at all of this stuff, and they're making decisions to try to edge out all competition, because that's what they do. And it's not just simply that. If you are a company that makes a product and you look at another company making a similar product and you're like, well, I can do that for less money, you do it. I don't think these molds are there yet. At least not the Optimus. The Megatron, I think, looks better. But I think the tactic is interesting. I think the product is interesting. I think the approach is interesting. I'm gonna definitely check some out because their action figures have been better than their Transformers. Marvel Legends still drive Marvel Legends collectors nuts, but ask any Marvel Legends collector how they feel about the current state of Marvel Legends. It's usually pretty positive. The same for Black Series. When those Rebel figures went up, those recently revealed Rebels figures, BBTS went down, you couldn't check out, and Amazon wouldn't let you check out. It was overload because the fan base has been built on a consistent reputation of quality, which is all they've had to do from the start. If you look at the growth of where Hasbro was from 2015 to now, 5 years, they went from being a company that was a joke. And I mean that with all due respect. But their Transformers were trash, by and large. The Black Series didn't exist, and the 3 3/4 line was taken as hand whipping. And Marvel Legends were hit or miss 50-50. Some were decent, and some were the worst things I'd ever put my hands on, so to speak. And now we're at a point where I am legitimately and literally just as excited to get a pre-order notice for one of their action figure lines, not their Transformers lines, which are also action figures, but not their Transformers, but their action figure lines. I'm legitimately as excited about getting a pre-order notice for their Legends or their Black Series as I am for anything that I collect, from Hot Toys to Figuarts to third party to whatever, because the price is right and the quality is surprisingly good. I think this is an interesting move here. I think this is a bit of a ballsy move. They're very much in touch with their fan base these days. They know how their fan base feels about Transformers transforming. I bet you they discussed it on Friday's video, saying that having not seen it. But I bet you they do, because they know it. They're in touch now. Ever since they had that overhaul a few years ago and put brand new people up in the offices and all that stuff, I think we talked about it here, I can't remember, but it was a thing. Ever since then, it's been better. That's no disrespect to the people that were there before, Aaron Archer and all of them. I don't know those dudes, I don't know the ins and outs of all that business, but I know it's better now. They're in touch. Vintage Collection making a power droid, they're in touch. So they know that transforming is an important part of Transformers. They also know it's separate. It's only some of you that don't. But they get it. So for them to believe in it the way they are, it says something. Now, to be fair, we see who? Megatron and Optimus so far. I'm not sure what they revealed. I'm going to guess a Seeker, Soundwave, Bumblebee, and maybe a Grimlock, right? Because it's the iconic 6. But if this is successful, if people become interested in this, the amount of stuff you can do with diorama displays, with this scale figure, like it's exciting, man. It's exciting because it's new. It's exciting because it's ballsy, and it's exciting because they're doing something that they've proven they can do well. I'm not entirely sure they can make transforming figures well. I'm going to be honest. I know that ruffles some feathers. I know the Siege line is better. Guess what? what, buddy, it's not good enough for me. Hate to say it, and I know you hate to hear it, but it's the way I feel. But what I do know is that they can make an action figure, and they've gotten insanely good at it in the past 2 years. So what do I say about this ultimately? Love to see it. I'm gonna check out a few. I'll probably buy a few. For those that have been following my stuff for some time, take a minute and think to yourself about where you came into watching or consuming my content. Think about my mindset and my attitude towards Hasbro and pretty much all domestic toy makers, and compare that to how I feel about them now and what I'm saying in this video. I don't think this product is where it needs to be yet. But don't think for a second this will be the last Optimus Prime you see from this line if it's successful. Color me interested. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.